Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and we're here with another episode of Quick Hits. Now, I've got some good news and I got some bad news, so I'll hit you with the bad news first. There will not be an episode of Quick Hits this coming Friday. The reason for that is because I decided to go in on Thanksgiving Day for a little bit of O-Tizzy on the job there. That's overtime for those who don't know what that is. Want to take advantage of that time and 3/4 pay at my job. But I will be back home to see the family for Thanksgiving, give me a good meal, recap some of the football and some of the sports that went on that day. And I'll be back next Tuesday for another episode of Quick Hits. But the good news is today we have a stacked episode of Quick Hits for your Tuesday. We got to talk about some NBA action. We got to talk about the NHL. We got to talk about some college basketball for men's and women's. And we had to crown some champions this weekend for some very exciting sports. And the conundrum, which was college football this past Saturday, and a little bit of action in the NFL. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And have yourself a cup of coffee with me, Podcast Smitty. Let's hit that theme music, shall we?
Can't fall off, now they holler he'll turn. Thinking I'ma sell out, talking just to feel heard. I never listen, although they say it's strictly.
Welcome to Quick Hits. I'm your host, Shannon Smith, aka Podcast Smitty. If you're new to the show, what's good? I'm Shannon. I am a fan of sport, and Quick Hits likes to cover all your sports. We like to get the highlights for all your sports. Then we like to do a little extensive talking on college football, the NHL, the NBA, whatever I can get a highlight on, I'm going to make sure to talk about it on this very show. Have some good insight, have some comic relief, have some fun. The Tuesday episode is all about recapping from the weekend, and the Friday episode will be getting you ready for the weekend. But since there won't be a Friday show, just like I told you, I'll more than likely post my picks maybe online, or I might just go ahead and talk about it on the next Tuesday. We'll find out. We'll get it done. We'll get it taken care of. But in the meantime and in between time, I hope each and every one of you has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy all the sports that'll be going on that day. But most importantly, enjoy your family. If you get a rest off from work, make sure that you enjoy that as well too. And the Friday episode will be the Tuesday episode on the next week as we go into December. And boy, December is going to be fun as we'll probably crack what's going on in college football in December. We'll have more NBA, we'll have more hockey, we'll have sports galore before we hit that new year in January. So let's start the show. Now let's go ahead and hit these rapid fire quick hits from this weekend, as we had some buzz all around all our leagues here and some surprising ones that you probably didn't know, but we'll see if you did. So we'll start off with the NBA, as the NBA Cup group play is going on as we speak. Jared McCain on Friday screamed out he was Rookie of the Year after hitting a big three-pointer on Friday night. He's the Rookie of the Year front runner, as he says, but he might just be the leader of the Philadelphia 76ers, considering the fact that Joel Embiid and Paul George are having trouble getting on the floor to play with the Sixers, and the Sixers have been on a skid, but that skid was snapped with 30 points put up by Jared McCain. Don't really want to talk good about him. He's a Duke guy, but you know what? I'll let him go when they go to the league. I'm glad he's doing very well for himself, putting up 30 points. That 5-game skid is gone as of Friday, as the Sixers go on to a win. And LaMelo Ball put up 50 points and 10 assists for the Charlotte Hornets against the Milwaukee Bucks, but it was not enough on Saturday, as the Bucks have been playing some good basketball. 31 points were put up by Dame Lillard. 32 were put up by Giannis. Giannis is yelling that he wants to trade, but Giannis looks like he might be auditioning for other teams because he's been playing some great basketball, averaging over 30 points a game so far this season. And the Bucks were able to get the win over my home team, the Charlotte Hornets. And then we'll go to the NHL, as San Jose Sharks great Joe Thornton has his number 19 jersey retired in the rafters this past Saturday. He's the all-time leader in assists for the San Jose Sharks. He was drafted by the Bruins in 1997, but he was traded later on in 2005, that 2005-2006 season where he won the Hart Trophy, and he's played for the San Jose Sharks. He's been a staple for the San Jose Sharks until his retirement. Joe Thornton, the second player all-time in San Jose Sharks history to have his jersey retired. Congratulations to Joe Thornton. And later on, we give more congratulations to one Sidney Crosby, who will more than likely be a first ballot Hall of Famer when he retires. I'm pretty sure he put up his 600th point. It was in a losing try against the Utah Hockey Club. They went down 6-1, but Sid the Kid becomes the 21st player in NHL history to record 600 points in a career. So congrats to Sidney Crosby. Congrats to Joe Thornton. And we'll move into college basketball as we'll cover the men's and the women's game as well, as Chaz Lanier's 7 3-pointers in the first half alone and his 25 points put Tennessee over Baylor on Friday night with a score of 77-62, and a 24-point night by Cooper Flagg, who has been taking the college basketball world by storm for the Duke Blue Devils. It helps Duke propel over Arizona 69-55. And we go to the women's game as Hannah Hidalgo and Juju Watkins trade 24-point games amongst each other, but Notre Dame was just too much as they were able to beat Southern Cal 74-61 on Saturday night. I watched that game. I liked it. It was a very good game. Juju's one of my favorite players, but Hannah Hidalgo and the Notre Dame Lady Fighting Irish go over USC in that game on Saturday. Speaking of USC's, South Carolina's school record of 43 consecutive wins is where it stops as they take a loss to the UCLA Lady Bruins, who were the 5th team in the nation, beating the South Carolina Lady Gamecocks 77-62. That was a pretty tough game for South Carolina, but like we've been talking about, which is the trend of win streaks for teams like the Winnipeg Jets, for teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, the stress of an undefeated record or an unbeaten streak. Sometimes that stress gets to you, but when that streak is ended, you can go back to playing the game business as usual, and that makes teams like that very, very dangerous. And one thing I love about covering sports is I like crowning champions here on Quick Hits. So we're going to crown some champions, as we had 2 over this weekend here. And we go to the National Women's Soccer League as the Orlando Pride win their first NWSL championship. They won it Saturday with a 1-0 win against the Washington Spirit. The Orlando Pride's Barbara Banda's lone goal was enough to give them their first NWSL championship. That was all that was needed. The Orlando Pride was the league's best team. They won the Shield, the NWSL Shield, being the best regular season team throughout that season, and they completed a great season by winning the championship. Barbara Banda, that was her first year in the league, coming from Zambia, which is a country in Africa, for those who do not know. But what's most historic is Marta, who has played for the franchise since 2017, gets her first championship inside of the United States. She's a native of Brazil. She was a 6-time World Player of the Year. She's won Olympic golds. She's been in the World Cup final. But this is what she's waited for her whole career. It was big for her career. Her mom made the travel from Brazil to America for the very first time to watch her play, and it resulted in a championship. Congratulations to the Orlando Pride, to Marta. Congratulations to the squad. Very well done, ladies. And into Formula One, Now, I'm not going to sit around here and say that I'm the biggest fan of Formula One racing. I don't really watch it as much, but this is worth watching right here as Max Verstappen wins his 4th straight World Championship in Formula One racing. Verstappen needed to finish ahead of Lando Norris in order to win the championship. He finished 5th. Norris finished 6th. And that was just enough for him to become the 6th driver in Formula One history to win 4 or more titles. Big time for Verstappen, as he is the 2nd youngest driver to win 4 titles in Formula One history. And he's 27 years old. And he's the 2nd youngest to win 4 straight all time. Congratulations to Max Verstappen. Congratulations to our champions this weekend. These are your sports quick hits for this weekend. We're fanning the flames from this past weekend in college football because we had some changes inside of the top 25, especially in the top 5, as we are getting a picture for the conference championships and for the bowl season. And this coming week is the last week of regular season college football that we will have. So let's go over this weekend here. Of course, we had some blowout wins. Texas taking care of Kentucky fairly easy, even though Cam Ewers had the ankle injury, but they're thinking that he's going to be fine going into the game this week. And Notre Dame taking care of business with Army. Army, unfortunately, not going to be undefeated this year. So Notre Dame took care of that, beating Army. I believe it was for the 9th straight year. I'm not sure if it is, but don't quote me on that, but it might be right. And Army taking care of Wake Forest. Although Wake Forest, in the beginning, they were close in the first quarter, but Miami, of course, stretching the lead. Cam Ward playing the type of football that we all expected out of a guy that could be up for the Heisman Trophy this year. So props to Miami getting it done 42-14 against Wake Forest. And Georgia taking care of UMass, Tennessee over UTEP, Clemson over the Citadel, and South Carolina over Wofford. Let's be honest, these were tune-up games for them because they have their respected rivals coming up this coming week, and SMU taking out Virginia completely, as SMU was going to cruise to an ACC title game. This more on SMU as we talk about this going in, but I want to get to the near brushes as well too, because we have some near brushes. Penn State 1-point win over the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Penn State narrowly getting by with a game-winning drive. And Boise State over Wyoming. Now, you know it's rough when Ashton Genty has 19 carries, 169 yards, and 1 touchdown, and that is a mediocre game for him. He's been running all over the place, getting touchdowns. He's had 6 games where he's had 3 touchdowns or more. This was somewhat of a human game for someone who has just been a highlight reel all through college football this year. But they were able to get the win against Wyoming 17-13. And Iowa State over Utah, 3-point win for them. And Illinois over Rutgers. They had I believe it was a 7-point win, 38-31 was your final score. Illinois over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And your statement wins. We had some statement wins as UNLV taking care of San Jose State by 11. And Ohio State over Indiana. I call that a statement win, even though Ohio State won 38-15. It was still a statement win because Indiana was undefeated. And Ohio State had the 1 loss against Illinois. Although they had that 1 loss, to me, I felt like Ohio State still is the best team in the Big Ten. As we look at it, I know they have the loss against Oregon, but with the home cooking in the home field, that helped Oregon out a lot. but I believe that there could be a possibility where they could play again. But we will see, as Indiana, unfortunately, not able to do it against Ohio State. Daddy Cincinnati and the Indiana Hoosiers shouldn't hang their head because they're developing, and this is a new look Big Ten. They could be a part of it from years to come with Kurt Cincinnati as their coach. That is, if he stays. One of these big schools might lure him away. So we'll see. And Arizona State with the big win over BYU. BYU dropping their second straight game. And Arizona State, who was picked to be last in the Big 12 this year, has a possibility to go further into the bowl season. And we'll be talking about that later as well, too. And Missouri taking care of Mississippi State. Missouri was out of the top 25. They got back into it this week, as we'll talk about that later. And then your tank jobs. Oklahoma beats Alabama, limits Alabama to only 3 points. Oklahoma, who's been up and down in their first year in the SEC, getting a big win against Alabama. And Alabama is a 3-loss squad for the first time in years. And Florida, a very big win against Ole Miss. Ole Miss that has a lightning offense. Jackson Dart still had a good game, 323 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air. But yet and still, Florida was able to squeak it by with a 7-point victory. And Texas A&M, 4 overtimes against Auburn, the Tigers, able to get the win. Texas A&M dropping the game to Auburn. Man, that was a barn burner of a game. Auburn getting the win with the extra points, in overtime. And Kansas taking out Colorado, Coach Prime and the boys. I was watching that game with my dad, and Lord, just all the missed tackles and the non-tackling from Colorado beat them up. The running game for Kansas was intense. They were running all over the place, able to bounce off tackles, getting into the end zone. Neal getting 3 touchdowns in that game. He ran incredible. So Kansas getting the win over the Colorado Buffaloes. And as this top 25, unraveling it as we speak here, Oregon 6 straight weeks as the #1 team in all of the land of college football. Them, Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State will welcome Notre Dame to the top 5 as Notre Dame picking up the 5th spot. They've won 9 straight games on their way to the top 5 here. Indiana dropping to number 10 after their loss to Ohio State. And welcome back to the top 10 for Miami. Miami getting back into the top 10. They're the number 8 team. And welcome to the top 10 to SMU as they get in. They will play in the ACC Championship in its first year in the conference. And this is the highest ranking that SMU has received since 1985. So congratulations to the SMU Mustangs, who will be playing in ACC Championship. They've already got the bid. They're just waiting to see if Miami can beat Syracuse. And if Miami loses Syracuse, then they'll get Clemson for the ACC Championship. Now, think about this here. Even with a 4 overtime loss that Texas A&M suffered, there's a possibility they could play in the SEC title game if they beat Texas. If they beat Texas, there's a possibility they could do it. And even crazier, if BYU, Arizona State, Iowa State, and Colorado finish 7-2, your Big 12 title game will be Iowa State and Arizona State. That is, if everybody has the same record in conference play, which will be 7-2. Who would have thought about that? Now, listen, I know I've got basketball people out there saying March Madness is crazier, is more drama-filled. I agree. Yes, it is. But bowl season, It's getting like that right now. It's getting really, really good. I'm looking forward to seeing how this will go. But sadly, since there's not going to be a show on Friday, I got to go through these picks. I'm going to get these picks in for college football. I'm not going to get the NFL picks this week. It'll have to wait till next week since there won't be a Friday show. But we're going to go through all these. We got a slate of games on Black Friday. So the games I'm looking at on the top 25 side, Boise State and Oregon State. I got Boise State winning that one there. Give me Ashton Genty for more rushing yards and the Heisman Trophy. Give that man that trophy. Colorado, I believe, will take care of the Oklahoma State Cowboys if they tackle on defense. Guys, you got to tackle. That was horrendous this past week. It's horrendous. And then I got Ole Miss beating Mississippi State. Mississippi State has had trouble winning in their own conference. And I think Ole Miss is ready for some get back after losing to Florida. So the Rebels will take care of the Bulldogs. And Georgia, University of Georgia will be taking on Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech will hang around in the first half, but I think Georgia's just going to get them. Georgia will take them out. So give me the Bulldogs over the Yellow Jackets. And then we move on to Saturday, which is a slate of games as well, too. A lot of football on Saturday since there's a holiday weekend going on. As you got the Horseshoe Showdown here. Ohio State over Michigan. Give me Ohio State over Michigan. Give me Ohio State. Give me the Buckeyes over the Wolverines. Tennessee and Vandy will be following. Vandy's going to cut this close. I think they're going to be close, but give me Tennessee over the Vanderbilt Commodores. Tennessee will get it done, but it will not be easy. Now, I'm wavering back and forth with this game here. Clemson and South Carolina. Shout out to my man Ryan Frick. That's his alma mater. South Carolina is. But give me Clemson in this game. Give me Clemson by 3. I think that South Carolina has a golden opportunity to beat Clemson, but I don't think they'll get it done. I think Clemson's going to squeak. It's going to be a close game. They're going to squeak by because I feel like South Carolina is one of the best three-loss teams in the nation. So give me Clemson over the Gamecocks. And then Army going to take on the University of Texas San Antonio. Army will get that done, so give me Army in that game. And Illinois and Northwestern, so give me Illinois. Penn State will take out Maryland. Notre Dame will make short work of Southern Cal. The Trojans will take a loss in this game. Bama and Auburn. That's going to be interesting. Auburn coming off of a big win this past week. And then Bama suffering a bad loss to Oklahoma. But give me Alabama because they are in Bryant-Denny. Give me Alabama at home. Miami will take care of Syracuse. SMU will take care of California. Arizona State and Arizona is going to be a fun one. But give me Arizona State by 6 points. Mizzou will take care of Arkansas. Indiana will take out Purdue. I don't see Purdue doing good against Indiana. Give me Oregon over Washington. Give me Texas over Texas A&M. They took a bad loss this past week as well, too. Kansas State, I believe, will take Iowa State out. I think Kansas State has something for them being outside of the top 25 for the past couple weeks. But I think Kansas State will have something to play for, and that's to be party crash to Iowa State. UNLV over Nevada and BYU over Houston. They will not go on a 3-game skid. They will win against Houston. That is your college football quick hits for this week. Enjoy the football on a holiday weekend. And just like that, everybody, that is our show. We went through all of our quick hits from the NBA, from the NHL, to the women's soccer, to Formula One. We did all that. Then we did our college football, and then we made picks. So very grateful, very happy that we got a show in. Thank you guys for watching. Of course, you didn't have to do it, but you did. I appreciate that. Before this show ends, I gotta say this. I want to say this to you, and I want to end the show with this here. I like to have fun. I'm a lighthearted dude. I like to laugh and chuckle and things like that. But I want to end the show with something to think about. Now, with my work inside of public safety, I've been working in the prison system for 9 years now. My anniversary was this month for 9 years. One thing that I urge people to understand, and I thought about this, reflected on a few things this weekend while I was off. The holidays are very, very tough for some people. The holidays are supposed to be a joyous time, and it is a joyous time. I love the holidays. I love spending time with family and friends. I love getting together around the table, eating, having some fun and laughing and watching sports and goofing off and things like that, and enjoying each other as a family and as friends. But the holidays sometimes are not a wonderful time for people. There are people that are going to be experiencing death for the first time. That person that's usually at the dinner table every year is not there because of death. And sometimes because of disputes inside of the family, bitter quarrels, things are said to others that might be offensive, and people don't talk anymore, and people are distant from each other around this time. And they're like, well, I'm not going to see her, or I'm not going to see him. I don't want to talk to my dad, or I don't want to talk to my mom or my brother or whoever. This is the part where I need you to chill. I need you to think about some things. And I'm not talking about myself or anybody in particular, but I know there's somebody out there that might be hearing this under the sound of my voice that has a stone unturned with a family member, or a stone unturned with a friend. It doesn't have to be family. It could be a friend. It could be somebody you work with. It could be somebody who you used to talk to and it went sour and it went bad. I want you to understand that this life is not guaranteed. Life is too short. People are going away left and right. And it's not just the older people. There are young people that are passing away. There are, anybody could. It could happen to me. It could happen to any of my guys. It could happen to you. So I want you to understand, and hear me when I say this, please. If it's a dispute that can be fixed, fix it. Go to that person and apologize. Or, even better, if that person comes to you and apologizes, forgive them. You don't have to hang out with them every day. You can tell them what's going on. You can tell them, hey, after this, we don't need to talk anymore. But forgive that person. Tell them you forgive them. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you're sorry. Life is too short, guys. Enjoy this holiday season, man. You know what? There's plenty of ball on. There's plenty of football on. There's basketball on. There's going to be a lot of sports on TV. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you can do. Take this time to do that. Take this time to enjoy the holidays, because, guys, we need more happiness. We need more love out there in the world. We need that. I'm thankful for the guys that I do this with. I'm thankful for MD and Carson and Aaron, all the guys here on Boom Broadcasting. All you guys are great. Love you guys. Everybody who's viewing, love you guys. Thank you guys so much. There's going to be more content coming. There's going to be more things we're going to be doing. All of us are going to be doing our shows differently. We might keep some elements. We might not. Some stuff is going to be on the way. But hey, we want you here. We need you here. We love you. So on behalf of myself and all Boom Broadcasting, happy Thanksgiving. Don't hurt yourselves when you go out there on Black Friday shopping. If you go, I ain't going to be there. I'm going to be working on that day too. So yes, make sure that you Tell that person you're sorry, or you accept that apology and go on with your life. That's just my 2 cents, y'all. See you guys next week. I'm Shannon Smith, and this is Quick Hits.
Can't fall off, now they holler he'll turn, thinking I'ma sell out, talking just to feel heard. I never listen, although they say it's strictly